Hello, citizens of Gotham. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante. Oh, it's a Monday. It's a crypto lounge. So we're going to do what we've been doing the last month or so. We're going to do a couple segments for the YouTube folks. We're going to show this video from the Nicaraguan president calling out America for its sanctioning of Russia and China, and basically spelling out how America, its arrogance is going to be its own undoing. I mean, it's a full 19-minute speech. We're not going to show you the whole thing, but it's very succinct. We also got this cool video that was sent to us about somebody testing Uber versus, in the city of Los Angeles, LA Metro, which is the government body that runs the public transportation. They're starting their own sort of rideshare thing through the city, which could be interesting. And then also another video that was sent to us on an interesting theory of showing, like, do peaceful protests work or not? And it's something we've talked about and even discussed and debated on the show numerous times, because it's always like, what do we do? Chris Hedges has talked about it. So we're going to go into that. And then at the end of the show, of course, we'll jump on over to Rockfin and we will go through the crypto prices. Yeah. Crazy week in crypto, ladies and gentlemen. So support what we're doing. You see the scroll below. You can support us at Venmo and ask me questions over there at Graham-Elwood. Make sure there's a dash. If there's no dash, it is not me. Make sure there's anything sent over there. There was last week, Matt S. asked, oh no, we did talk about that. All right. And then support us on Patreon. We got bonus content that's on Patreon. And you can submit articles and stuff on Patreon. And then, of course, the P.O. box is cool. That's at GrahamElwood.com. Go to GrahamElwood.com, sign up for the newsletter. It's free. You get a free smoothie recipe when you sign up for the newsletter. And yeah. Also, I just got a ticket link for Berlin. I'm going to put that in the chat. It's not even on my website yet. I'm going to put that in the chat right now. Government secrets in Berlin. So let me get that. Where'd it go? Where's my cursor? Let me get that real quick. So we've got shows. Where is it? Let's go. Here. There, I just put it in the chat. There is the Berlin link. I'll put it over at Rockfin as well. Ina Martinez, Bass journalist Pablo Gonzalez has been incarcerated in Poland since February 28th. Oh, God. Thank you for telling us about that, Ina. Here's our show in Berlin. Oh, I've heard about a German journalist, a Bass journalist, anybody coming back from Ukraine with, like, truth of what's happening there that goes against the Western NATO US narrative. They're just getting locked up or shut down or whatever. It's insane. But yeah, another way to support the show is go to GrahamElwood.com So we've got Berlin. I just put it in the chat. Also at grandmallow.com, we've got London. So we're doing Government Secrets in Berlin and London in October 5th and 12th. And then I'm doing stand-up comedy, getting ready for my special. So October 18th, I'm in New York City. October 20th, Madison, Wisconsin. October 21st, Detroit. October 22nd, Cincinnati. And October 26th, I am taping my comedy special in Chicago. Go to grandmallow.com. So come out to a live show wherever you are. Come to Madison. Like if you're in the Midwest, come to this show in Madison, Thursday, October 20th. This cool venue that Ron and I had done several years ago. That'll be literally just going to be like an opening act and then me doing like an hour, man, of all my political stuff ready for my special taping. It's going to be big, kids. You don't want to miss it. So check all of that out. I do not know about Dania Dugina. Holly, sorry. But yeah, go to grandmallow.com, you guys. That really helps what we're doing. And of course, hit the like button. Like, share, and subscribe. And we'll be adding the Berlin to my website, tonight or tomorrow. And then I'm still just waiting on a ticket link for Detroit, but we'll be there. But we've got ticket links for New York, Madison, London, Cincinnati, Chicago, and now Berlin. You don't want to miss this. All right. Let me make sure there are no questions. And of course, if you're up late tonight, going to be doing Comedy Island with James Monet later tonight, which is 10 o'clock Pacific time. It's late. It's a late one. But check that out. So live government secrets. We've only ever done one live government secrets. That was in Los Angeles, like almost a year ago, last September. And now we've got 2 European shows. So they're not easy. They don't roll out often, the live gov seeks. So you want to make sure you're there. And go to grandmalwood.com. Holly is our moderator. Thank you, Holly. All right. Yep. Exactly as you say, Graham, they don't want the truth to be known. Thank you, Anna Martinez. We very much appreciate you supporting our show and giving us that information. I mean, you guys are all like citizens of Gotham. You're all out there doing, you guys send stuff to me. I can't be everywhere. I can't pay attention to everything. I'm just me. I don't even have like like you guys are my support. So Venetia David, I got my ticket, London ticket. Awesome. This is the other cool thing about when you come to a live show, we get to meet because a lot of times we just see each other in the chat. So, if you live in England or are in England during that time, come out. You get to meet myself, Lee, Venetia David will be there. They bombed the place. Eva K. Bartlett was staying. I did hear about that today. It's crazy. But like Backyard Politics is coming to the show in Chicago. JB Updike from Open Primaries that's been on Anything Can Happen. And we've also interviewed him before. He will going to be at the show. So, and the show is in New York City. You don't know anyone. A lot of fancy pants people could show up there. So you're going to meet fun people. You're going to be in the show in Portland. Tara Reid showed up because she supports Ron and I because we support Tara Reid. Tara Reid was there at the show in Portland. So Backyard Politics got to take a picture with Tara Reid. That's kind of a big deal. That's who shows up at our shows, man. So you want to yeah. Holly Horn has her New York City tickets. See? It's going to be so great. I love meeting you guys on the road. The people whose names are in the chat and I recognize and stuff. It's really cool. I love it when you guys come to shows, man. So it's we'll meet, we get photos. If you look at Backyard Politics Instagram, it's a photo of her and I. It's really cool. I got to meet her for the first time in person. And so, you know, and I had her on the streets in Portland reporting for me, you know, like it was crazy. So, very, very cool. The road shows, you get to meet a lot of awesome people and you get a great show and you have a lot of fun. So let's make sure we got that right. All right, everybody. What do you say we go into our first hot, fresh segment? You want it. This is the People's Channel. This is the People's Channel. Most of the segments today were sourced, I think, by you guys. Boom. Ba-boom. And of course, today I did some amazing, I did hot yoga today, did my hot yoga. Then I went to the park and worked on my guns, jumped in the ocean. It was a very, very fantastic day. I had a vegan smoothie that was perfect. Rory O'Neill is over at the Rockfin. Good to see everybody, the Rockfinigans. And thank you to everybody watching over at Facebook as well. We appreciate you. Like, share, subscribe. Send this out on your social media. That all those ways to help. Hit the like button. Sharing it on your social media very much helps. Yes. Yoga, park, ocean, life of Riley. Yes. So let's buy a ticket to a live show. You know, buy a ticket to a live show. I've put together an hour of material that I am very proud of. It is very social, political. It is everything I've been doing on this channel. It is a culmination of everything I've done on this channel for 5.5 years. Everything I've done as a stand-up comic, the going into war zones, being a Red Cross volunteer, and living life. And it's traveling around the world. It is really a culmination. It is the most like lefty, the whole system's broken stand-up set that I've seen from anybody recently. So I'm very proud of it. And I'm grateful to all of you who support what I do. So come to a live show. Live shows are the best shows. Yes, they are. So, all right. Let's go, folks. Let's get into it. Hot, fresh segment coming to you. Where is it? Let me get this all queued up. Let me get this queued up. Got that ready to go. I got everything ready to go. All right. Stay hydrated, guys. Half your body weight in ounces, and then maybe another 10, 20 ounces more if you do a lot of like exercise or hot yoga. Stay hydrated. It helps with mental acuity. Here we go. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching BAM, the Political Vigilante, the People's Channel, folks. We're making Gotham great again. That's what we're doing. We've got vegan guns. We've got tour dates coming, folks. Lee Camp and I, Government Secrets Live in Berlin, October 5th, London, October 12th. Then I'm doing stand-up comedy to get ready for my special. New York City, October 20th, Madison, Wisconsin, October 21st, Detroit, the 22nd, Cincinnati, and then taping the special in my sweet home, Chicago, October 26th. All tickets are at grahamelwood.com. Thank you. We'll see you at a live show. Another great way to support the show, in addition to buying a ticket to a live show, is to go to patreon.com/GrahamElwood, where this was submitted by Tim Stack. I'm going to show you this clip in a second. It's a great way to support what we're doing. And the thing I love about it is you guys tell me about stuff. That's why I call it the People's Channel. You guys are helping me do this. You guys are out there. You're all citizens of Gotham. You are all political vigilantes out there telling me about this. So we've talked a lot on this show about how the U.S. is flexing its muscles way too much. All of its sanctioning, its endless war budgets that keep getting increased. We just found out, I did a video on this, that bipartisan Congress, democratically controlled Congress, but the Republicans love war too, just increased Joe Biden's war budget to $839 billion, up from $778 billion. They gave him an extra $37 billion he didn't even ask for. No arguments, no hem and haw, no this or that, no debate, nothing. Just boom. We tried to get, a $378 billion so-called green energy, environmental climate bill. Oh man, there's fights and this and that. And that's spread out over 10 years. So that's $37 billion a year for 10 years. Oh, fighting, Joe Manchin, all this drama. You want more money for war? Boom, done. Not even a debate, not even a blink, not even a wait, nothing just gets passed. So America likes to think that Russia and China are completely isolated. No, America is becoming isolated. I've shown you this before. I've told you how, look, China and Russia are lining up. And they have massive economies. And India is signing up with Russia. And we keep sanctioning. We keep going to the end of these wars. And it's costing us. It's going to cost the American people. And you know who else thinks that? The president of Nicaragua. I want to show you this. I'm not going to show you the whole speech, but listen to what this guy says. And you will, I doubt, see any excerpts of this speech anywhere on the corporate media. You just won't see it. So here it is.
Hoy, queridos hermanos nicaragüenses, querida familia, un mundo que va de explosión en explosión, y son explosiones que tienen que ver con, como lo decía, lo mencionaba en una ocasión, tienen que ver con el parto. Está naciendo en el mundo un nuevo orden. Está naciendo un nuevo orden que sepulta al imperialismo, sepulta a los colonialistas y abre campo a una democracia de naciones. Un multipolarismo que se está manifestando de diversas formas. Vemos las iniciativas surgiendo en diferentes espacios. Y vemos, por otro lado, al imperialismo norteamericano tratando de mantener su hegemonía a toda costa, aún a riesgo de hundir su propia economía.
Even at the risk of sinking its own economy. And if they do show a clip of this on the corporate media, they're like, oh, Ortega's crazy. He's one of our adversaries. He's Putin's pulling his strings or whatever. No one listen to this guy's words. Just, he's being very clear of how America is killing itself.
Pero en la actitud prepotente de sentirse que todavía pueden mantener su hegemonía, que pueden y deben defender su hegemonía, lo que están haciendo es hundiéndose ellos mismos. Y se están hundiendo ellos mismos. Y le están provocando un gran daño al pueblo norteamericano. Y con todas las sanciones que le han impuesto a la Federación Rusa, que está librando una guerra justa contra el fascismo, contra el nazismo.
There's something you don't hear. Russia is waging a just war against fascism and Nazism. Again, we've covered that numerous times on this show that no one in American media or anywhere in the West will talk about. The neo-Nazi organizations operating within Ukraine. Now, you could say, oh, Ortega, this or that, he's buddies with, but we won't even, why can we even say that on Western media? We're not allowed to even bring that up. I'm just telling you, America, we're alone. It's us and Western Europe. And Western Europe, we're forcing them into us. And I'm sure there's starting to be leaders within Western Europe that are like, man, this is not good. But
está enquistado ahí en el poder de los golpistas en Ucrania. Están destruyendo la economía europea. Están liquidando la OTAN también. La están liquidando. Con cada acción agresiva. Con las múltiples decisiones que han tomado para tratar de destruir a la Federación Rusa. Y también tienen como objetivo destruir a la República Popular China. Porque los ven como los dos grandes poderes que los están rebasando ya. Están rebasando en cuanto a desarrollo, en cuanto a ciencia, en cuanto a tecnología. Y se han ido contra la Federación Rusa. Y ahí está Rusia dando la batalla contra el fascismo. Una batalla contra el fascismo. El fascismo no desapareció con la caída del búnker, donde los primeros en llegar fueron los soldados del Ejército Rojo.
Yep.
Y clavaron la bandera ahí, donde había estado el puesto de mando del tirano Hitler. El fascismo dejó sus raíces y está enquistado en algunos países europeos. ¿Sí? En países europeos, donde abiertamente, y está enquistado en la sociedad norteamericana.
so he just said fascism, after they got rid of Hitler, still was embedded in many European countries, which is absolutely true, and in North America. Now, that's something I've covered on this show in Government Secrets. We've talked about this. Operation Paperclip. We literally brought Nazis here to work on our science and space program. I mean, we did not eradicate Nazism in World War II. We just shut down Germany and then let some key people flourish. We talked about on Government Secrets, Operation Bloodstone, where we used Nazis to help undermine communist countries after World War II. This guy's not wrong. This guy's not wrong.
For just $67, you can make as many videos.
So the point of me showing this is numerous reasons. One, to say that me, Lee Camp, Ron Paul, a handful of us are the only ones, talking about the fact that there's Nazis in the Ukraine. I've shown you videos, a BBC documentary from 2015. We've shown, Democracy Now! And other mainstream channels 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago going, this isn't good. I told you how in 1998, the first time we voted to move NATO east, several American senators, both Republican and Democrat, were like, this isn't a good idea. I don't like what Putin has done. I don't like his invasion, but he's never depicted as a guy that just doesn't want Nazis on his border. We have to go to all these alternative news sources or European news. We have to go to Vivo, which is like a Central American news outlet. Are any excerpts from Ortega's speech that we just watched, are any of them going to be shown in American media? No. If they do, they'll take one little clip. I didn't edit any of that. It's a full 19-minute speech. If they did, they'll just take one part and be like, oh, see, he's got the Chinese delegation there. Yeah, because China is not out bombing everybody and sanctioning everybody. People say, oh, but China does this and that. Okay, great. China's done some bad things. Let's hold them accountable, but we're going to act like they've done anything worse. No one has done anything worse than the United States in the last 20 years. Nobody. No one has. We spent $10 trillion. There's 6 million people dead. Thousands of American service members dead. And 22 vets a day commit suicide for what? So that Goldman Sachs and, Boeing and Raytheon stock price can go up? So that CEOs can get bonuses while American sons and daughters fight these corporate wars? You would think 20 years and $10 trillion, the global war on terror, we would have won it. It's over. Terrorism is done. If you would have asked me September 12th, 2001, that we're going to, in 20 years from now, we're going to spend this much money, but terrorism would be done. The world's a flourishing place. There's thriving democracies. We can actually spend time and money now reversing climate change. No. And what does China do through its Silk Road Initiative? It goes to countries like Nicaragua and Venezuela. And yeah, it needs its oil. It needs its resources, but they build them a port. They're building rail all throughout Africa because they see it as an emerging market. And even from the most cynical of eyes, they're still playing it the right way. They don't go in and bomb and sanction Africa. They go, here's money. And some people say, China's pulled some of its money out. Yeah, they're doing business. They come in and say, we want this and this, we'll give you money. And then if we don't get it, we're going to leave. Okay, sure. That's something to be critical of. But are they bombing anybody? There's 377,000 dead people in Yemen. China wasn't involved in that war. Russia, it's us. It's us and Saudi Arabia. So America thinks that Russia is this scared, isolated, crazy country. No, we are. And I'm here to tell you, these sirens are probably coming to get me because I'm too much truth. You're going to kick in my door in a second. And as he said, as the President Ortega just said, America is doing this at its own detriment. Like, we're going to collapse our own economy with this never-ending war spending and sanctioning. I've shown you video after video after video over the years. We have a crumbling infrastructure. Right now, there's floods. Crazy floods in Texas. Downtown Dallas just got flooded. We don't spend money on infrastructure. We've got fires, floods, droughts. And of course, the Texas floods that just happened are what the floods that keep happening everywhere, where there's massive drought and then crazy amounts of rain in a short amount of time, the soil is too hard. It can't absorb it. So it creates super floods, basically, where the water just comes rushing through the hardened mud like concrete. But we're going to send another what? How much have we sent to Ukraine? And the United States doesn't care about the Ukrainian people. We don't. The United States government doesn't. American citizens might, yes. What's happening to the Ukrainian people is awful, but they need to understand America helped create this problem, and America does not care about the Ukrainian people at all. The American government cares about money and profit and power. But that's all coming undone because that's what that President Ortega just said, and he said it to the Chinese. There's clearly a delegate from China. China's just quietly waiting for us to collapse and eat ourselves, and that's what we're going to do. That's what's going to happen. And when you spend endless money on war and you don't spend it on your own citizens, $10 trillion? And Joe Biden is talking about maybe giving $10,000 back in student debt forgiveness, 10 grand. Let's say you got $150,000 in student debt. You only get 10 grand, and it's only for people that have made less than 120. So there's all these stipulations. And then Americans that have been so brainwashed are like, why should my taxes go to pay for that? Student debt forgiveness doesn't cost you any extra tax dollars at all. The amount of trillions of dollars we spend on these ridiculous wars, we could wipe out. It's 1.5 trillion is student debt forgiveness. That wipes out all student debt. 1.5 trillion. We could have free healthcare, free college. You wipe out student debt and you just make college free, like they've had in Europe and stuff like that for 70 years. You have an educated, responsible electorate. Then you have this thing that's called, what's the word I'm looking for? An actual democracy rather than what we have now, which is a kleptocracy run by oligarchs. I always tell you, follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth. That's what this is. And we allow fascism to flourish here. We allow neo-Nazis to flourish here. War is profitable. That's why we keep spending all this money on it. If we cut our military budget in half, China's the second most spending on military. If the US cut its military budget in half, we would still outspend China by over $200 billion. They spend about $190 billion a year on their military. So we're just upping our budget now to 839. So we cut that in half, that'd be like $418 billion we would spend, which would be over $200 billion more. That's if we cut it in half. Unreal. I know many of you are facing foreclosure. You're facing eviction. You got to repay. We all got to repay our small business loans because our businesses were all shut down during the pandemic. I couldn't do stand-up for 16 months, man. I got to repay my loan. You got to repay your loan. But the big banks and the big investment companies and the billionaires on Wall Street, 100 new billionaires were created. But the American citizens, food lines, tent cities, crumbling infrastructure, but Wall Street's taken care of. And the war machine keeps marching on. Yeah? Anybody ever drive by a VA that needs some funding? Yeah, that's what we think of our veterans. Thank you for your service. That's all we give a shit. Thank you for your service. Oh, thank you for your service. We'll thank you at a ball game or something like that, but we're not going to spend real money to help veterans. That's why there's 22 suicides a day. That's an offensive number. But yeah. So Nicaraguan president called it out, and I showed it to you here. So that's why you guys come here. Like I said, it's the People's Channel. You guys make this happen. Follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth. That's what the Nicaraguan president just did. Thanks for watching. Support what we do here, guys. Go to GrahamElwood.com. You can go to a live show. I'm coming to a city near you. A lot of ways to support what we're doing. Shave your knuckles for justice. Yeah. If inflation is 8%, a 4% raise is actually a pay cut. Yes. But then who would build overpriced planes that don't work? Great question. Yeah, they care about vets about as much as they allow them to be unhoused. I know. Hit the like button, everybody. Kaori Hola, Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Thank you for supporting us at rockfin.com/GrahamElwood. Folks, go to rockfin.com/GrahamElwood. It is free to sign up, and you can tip the show like Kaori just did. There's also a premium level for $10 a month. You get all this bonus content. Here's the great thing about Rockfin. For $10 a month, you get everybody's premium content on the whole platform. They first threatened Pablo with 3 months in prison. Oh, okay. The U.S. economy is unsinkable. The people talking about U.S. sailing towards an iceberg are just repeating polar bear propaganda. Yes, leftover beefcake, that's for sure. The further a society drifts towards truth, the more it hates those who speak it. George Orwell. Yep. That's absolutely true. Greetings, Elwoodians and Rock Finnegans. He's speaking the truth you will never hear via any Western lamestream media. You got that right. Yeah. Yeah. Actually, the real rate of inflation is probably about 17.8% or even higher. It looks like about 20 to 30% when I go to the grocery store. Good to see all of you over on the Rock Fin. Yeah, the 9%, 8-9% is what the government estimates. And it's like, it's probably double that. Probably double that. Hit the like button, folks. Come on now, get those likes up. You get those likes up. China is actually a military of defense. The U.S. is a money laundering plot. Yep. Why do we support a government by paying taxes when they're killing us with lies and corruption? I know. Glorifying U.S. war crimes is freedom. Yes. Backyard politics in the house. What is up? Power and heating bills in some parts of Europe have octupled in the last 6 months. Yep. And we love you, Blaze Silverwolf. Hit the like button, everybody. China is the world's leading social democracy, and the U.S. is the leading fascist empire. The results speak for themselves. I know. It's like when people are like, America's the greatest country in the world. Really? We have the highest infant mortality rate of any westernized country. We have an out-of-control homeless population. We have an opioid epidemic, an obesity epidemic. We have a suicide epidemic. I mean, men have a 3 times higher suicide rate than women do. Did you know that? We have the highest prison population of any westernized country. Yes, we just did the Nicaragua segment, Giovanni. So if you showed up late, if you are a Patreon or Rockfin Premium member, all of the live streams go up on those platforms, so you can see archives of all the live stream we've done. Like if you want to, so if you just tuned in, you can watch this later at your convenience while supporting the show for as little as $10 a month. Cancel your subscription to Amazon Prime and support the show. Dig the haircut. Thank you so much. I've been lately getting it even tight. Make it even tighter around the ears. Yeah, I like it tight. Thank you. Boom. Lean. The greatest country in the world doesn't give you healthcare or post-secondary education. It gives you unsustainable wages. Yay, freedom, right? There's your freedom. You got to have 3 jobs to survive. Isn't there a freedom? Don't you feel free? Don't you feel free when you're working 3 jobs? And hey, gas is down 30 cents. Whoa, thanks. Thanks, Joe Biden. Amazon crime. We're number 1 in suicide. Yep. Rando Frohline, shave your knuckles for justice. Thank you for supporting us at rockfin.com/Graham Elwood Randall. Very much appreciate it. I can just see Homer Simpson stomping around yelling that. But we're 13th in infrastructure. Thank you, leftover beefcake. Those people in 14th place in infrastructure, they're such losers. Eat it. We're 13th. We're number 13. We're number 13. We're number 13. Are you guys talking about Yorkshire Gold tea? I'm glad you guys are having a good tea conversation. Yeah, Trump made proud to be an American his theme. That's all we need is themes. Obama said hope and change. I'm in. Trump made America great again. And Biden is building back better. Build back better. Oh, like, wow. In the year 2525. Oh, God, you guys got great comments. All right. You guys ready for another hot, fresh segment? Boom. All right, here we go. Hi from New Mexico. Patreon supported because you're vegan. Thanks. Yes. 30% inflation for the things that I buy, such as groceries. Thank you so much for supporting me. I really appreciate it. Everything NATO governments do to Russia not only backfires, it's speeding up the BRICS Eurasian integration project so fast that petrodollar almost dead and BRICS are creating new global reserve currency. Yes. Yes. No, we're literally, tying a noose around our own necks thinking, yeah, this is how we're going to stick it to Putin. And it's like, okay. Okay. In the year 2525, Americans would still be voting fascists in the power. No, the human race will be gone by then. But that's, I love the optimism that you still think America will be, that human beings will be alive in the year 20. It's not happening. All right. Ooh. MHC, Shave Your Knuckles for Justice. Thank you for supporting us at rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. Thank you for doing that. Folks, real quick, I'm going on the road. I put it in the chat earlier. Government Secrets in Berlin, October 5th. Government Secrets in London, October 12th. And then I come back and I start getting ready for my comedy special taping. October 18th, New York City. Be there. October 20th, Madison, Wisconsin. Be there. October 21st, Detroit. Be there. October 22nd, Cincinnati, Ohio. And October 26th in Chicago, taping the special. Tickets are at grahamelwood.com. Gas prices raised by $2, then reduced by 30 cents. So to be sure, vote blue. Yeah, I know. I knew it. I was like, oh, Joe Biden brought gas prices down. Like, it's America. God, it's insane. It is insane. Bilderberg back better. Yes, it is absolutely a Bilderberg back better. Do you feel so much build back bettered? I feel like we've had so much build back bettering. I can't get enough of the build back bettering. So way to build back better yourself. Way to build back better. Graham's going to the Rust Belt. Basically what Hillary didn't bother to do. Yep. I do shows in the middle of the country. I do all over the place. Vote Granny Petrol. Putin's approval rating has been as high as 84% since the military operation in Ukraine started. There's not one single Western leader with even a 1/10 of his competency. I know. It's a good point. All right. You guys want another hot, fresh segment? You're going to get it. Let's do... Let's do this one about these ride shares. This is actually an interesting subject. Do I ever watch law and crime trial videos? Some, yeah. I like that law stuff. I like that law stuff. Okay, let's go here. Sorry, just getting everything set up, gang. Hot fresh segment powered by vegan smoothies and hot yoga. Yeah. Get it. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching the political vigilante making Gotham great again. Before I get into this real quick about how we're going to show a group that is testing to see which is better, Uber or a city-funded rideshare program, I just wanted to say I'm hitting the road doing Government Secrets live in Europe. October 5th, Lee Camp and I are doing Government Secrets in Berlin. And then October 12th, we're doing Government Secrets in London. Go to grahamelwood.com for tickets. And then I am doing a tour in October, the 18th, New York City, the 20th, Madison, Wisconsin, the 21st, Detroit, Michigan, the 22nd, Cincinnati, Ohio, and the 26th, I'm taping my special in Chicago. Get your tickets at grahamelwood.com. Can't wait to see you on the road. In addition to going to a live show, which is a great way to support the show, and you laugh and there's people there laughing with you. You're not alone. You know, when you watch, you think like, I'm politically homeless, man. I don't like the Democrats. I don't like the Republicans. There's no home for me in America. You come to one of my live shows and you're not alone. You're in a room full of people that all feel the way you do, and you're not alone. It's a cool thing. So go to grahamelwood.com for tickets. And you can also support the show at patreon.com/Graham Elwood, where TE submitted this video. And I want to show it to you. It's really, just to preface it real quick, it's done by this organization that's in Los Angeles that is really trying to see how to make LA a little more sustainable, right? LA, when I moved there in the 90s, its public transportation was pretty abysmal. It's gotten way better. There's a lot of light rail. They've increased the bus systems. They've put in way more bike lanes. It's a much more sustainable green city. And there's more people living in LA now who are like, I don't need a car, which was unheard of 20 years ago. So they wanted to test which is better, because LA Metro, which is the government, the municipal government agency that handles all of the public transportation in LA, right? They handle the buses and the light rail. They're starting their own rideshare company, and this YouTube page wanted to give it a fair test. So this video was sent to me by TE, and that's why this is the People's Channel. You guys bring me information that I could never get on my own, so I really appreciate it. And this is what's important to me, because the environment is important to me. We are facing climate collapse, and it's going to take inventive ideas. And I love showing videos of all these cool different ideas out there. And each region is going to be different. What a big city needs is going to be different. What a rural area needs, what a mountain area needs is going to be different from what a beach community needs, and on down the line. But I like talking about it because I like showing that there's good ideas and there is hope out there. We need something real soon, because America just keeps spending more and more money on war, and we're not addressing climate change. The climate bill that just got passed is $378 billion over 10 years. So that's $37 billion a year. That's not enough. And everyone's like, it's the most boldest plan ever. Well, when you've had nothing, like if you're starving, breadcrumbs taste like a 5-course meal. So anyway, I want to show you this video because it's intriguing. And this is from City Beautiful, which is a cool YouTube channel that tries to test all this stuff.
LA Metro beat Uber, the king of awkward conversations with strangers in cars? I wanted to find out, so I pitted them against each other in a competition. I'm taking Metro Micro to Caltech and Uber back to downtown Pasadena. I'll be comparing them on ease of use, time to destination, and price. And of course, I'll be talking about the impact of ride-sharing services on cities because, this is a city planning channel. The first thing I did was book a ride on Metro Micro using the app. The app feels modern and sophisticated, which may not be something to expect from a transit agency. But it's clear that LA Metro is marketing this to Uber users, and it accomplishes that goal. The app does work a little differently than Uber, though. The service is similar to UberX Share, where you carpool with others. The app gave me a time range for pickup, and I wasn't allowed to know my driver's info or see them on the map until I was the next to be picked up. I booked the ride at about 7 p.m., and the app said I wouldn't be picked up until 7:20 to 7:30, and I would get to my destination around 7:45. This is considerably slower than most of my experiences with Uber, save for a few late-night pickups in rural areas. It did give me time to stroll through downtown Pasadena, though, which was lovely. My ride eventually came closer to 7:40. The app told me the driver was running late, which was nice. When the driver pulled up, there was no one else in the van, but before dropping me off at my destination, we had to stop and pick someone else up. Luckily, they were only a few blocks out of the way. The van was big enough that I didn't really need to interact with the other passengers, and it wasn't awkward. The driver was friendly, and I arrived around 8 o'clock. Now it's Uber's turn. I only had to wait about 6 minutes for my Uber to arrive after booking it, and the drive took 11 minutes, which is substantially shorter than the 20-ish minutes for Metro Micro. But of course, we didn't pick anyone else up on the way back. It was an altogether uneventful Uber ride. Let's look at the scoreboard here for a second. Both services are easy to use for anyone who has ever used a smartphone app. In both cases, you input your destination and the app finds you a driver to take you from point A to point B. I'll have to give the edge to Uber here, however, because the Metro Micro driver was late. Time to destination goes to Uber, though I feel like Metro Micro was extremely quick and efficient given that we stopped to pick up another ride. If I was comparing Metro Micro to UberX Share, I would have probably given the edge to Metro Micro for its sweet van. Finally, price. As advertised, Metro Micro costs $1, and you can use your transit pass if you have one. The Uber ride was only $7.57, which the app said was lower than normal. The average price is closer to $9. This one easily goes to Metro Micro. So Uber wins, right? Well, I think it depends on your priorities. If you just want to get from one place to another quickly, Uber is a solid option. But if you're someone who cares about things like traffic, carbon emissions, and the fate of urban transportation systems, then maybe Metro Micro is a better option. Plus, it's hard to beat those dollar rides. Metro Micro is so good that I first heard about it from Adam of Adam Ruins Everything. If Metro Micro is so awesome that it won over someone who debunks things professionally, you know it's good. Let's talk about the problems Uber creates for cities and why Metro Micro may be the real future of ride sharing after the bike bell. I went over all the major service differences between Uber and Metro Micro, but perhaps the biggest difference between these two are their parent organizations and their goals. Uber, as well as the competitor Lyft, are private companies and incentivized to make a profit for their shareholders. Metro Micro is a service operated by LA Metro, a public transit agency. They have several goals listed in their strategic plan, but their first is the most obvious and instructive: provide high-quality mobility options that enable people to spend less time traveling. They just want to move people throughout the area fast. They don't need to generate a profit, as public transit is a public service, just like roads, fire protection, and parks. Does that mean that Metro Micro is better because it's a public service? Well, maybe. Let's do another little competition between Uber and Metro Micro, but this time focus on the overall impact to the region. And let's look at labor first. Metro Micro's drivers are employed by the transit agency and are represented by a union. They get medical and dental insurance, tuition reimbursement, and are provided a vehicle.
Wow.
It's essentially the same job as a public bus driver. You're not going to get rich driving a bus or a Metro Micro vehicle, but by US standards, it's a pretty stable job. Uber and Lyft drivers are not unionized, nor are they considered employees, at least not in the US. They are independent contractors with no guaranteed wages, hours, or working conditions. In 2019, California passed a law reclassifying independent contractors as employees and entitling them to the same workplace protections. And
I would like to add, because I don't know if this guy's going to do it, we've done videos showing how Uber and even Lyft have really tried to crush workers. They've tried to crush the forming unions. They're a big corporation that does not care and extracts, like we talk about on the show, it extracts the driver's labor for their multi-billion-dollar profit. And any for-profit company, that's all they care about. So already it's like, wait a minute. Drivers are not, if I was making my living as an Uber driver, and I would be like, I would go apply for the Metro gig immediately because I want benefits and healthcare and also I don't got to put, 50,000 miles a year on my car. I like this kind of comparison stuff.
Benefits such as a minimum wage, workers' comp, unemployment insurance, and paid family leave. Uber and Lyft spent $200 million, 10 times their opposition, on a ballot measure to exempt them from this law, and they succeeded. The debate probably doesn't make much difference to drivers who appreciate the flexibility of the gig economy, the kind of people who drive a few hours here and there to supplement their income. But for those who do Uber full-time, those benefits are necessary. Uber drivers typically make about $15 to $22 per hour, which must also cover the cost of gas and vehicle maintenance. In larger cities, it's easier to eke out a living due to the larger number of rides requested. Recently, drivers have been making closer to $30 an hour in some cities, as Uber has had to pay more to fend off a driver shortage and compensate for higher gas prices. But this has also contributed to increased prices for riders. Let's look at that scoreboard again. Metro Micro is the clear winner in the labor category. These increased labor costs lead to higher prices, which makes mass transit more attractive to people. This is part of the reason why Uber is trying to replace mass transit, so you'll be captive to Uber and pay whatever they charge. But what is Uber doing to actually replace mass transit? Well, simply operating in cities with mass transit systems has reduced transit ridership. For example, Uber rides in New York went from 60,000 to 600,000 per day between 2015 and 2018. Subway ridership dropped by the same amount in that period.
Man, look at this cable bill.
Oh, boy,
Well, what if I
these
told you that
ads.
you could get home internet?
So I like these kind of comparisons because this is the kind of thing we need. We need data and research and information to let us know what is the better option. And again, I'm not trying to take anybody Uber driving away, but if you're like, if you're a full-time driver, you're better off joining Metro because they're going to pay you better.
Wide saw consistent drops in ridership as Uber and Lyft began operations there. One study found a 9% drop in transit usage as soon as a ride-sharing company began operating in the city. And today, the pandemic has put transit agencies into fiscal crisis as ridership has dropped further. Uber and Lyft are seeking partnerships with transit agencies to replace lines with Uber rides. Transit agencies who had never have considered these deals before are forced to as they can't provide the service they once did. The result will be a less efficient form of transit. Buses and trains can move a lot of people and don't take up a lot of space. When they run at high frequencies and connect destinations people want to go to, they are super efficient and cost effective. Moving one person at a time in a private vehicle with one driver is not efficient at all. But it's better than nothing, which is why transit agencies are considering it. And obviously, Uber wants more rides, and this is one way of getting them. Impact on transit easily goes to Metro Micro. Uber and Lyft degrade transit ridership by competing directly. Metro Micro is run by a transit agency. You can use your transit pass to pay for rides, and the system is designed to complement transit instead of defeat it. Early on in this rideshare experiment, people like me, planners, were hoping that Uber would actually reduce overall reliance on cars. This is because people might, leave their car at home and take Ubers everywhere. One Uber driver could provide transportation for several people, thereby reducing traffic, congestion, carbon emissions, and that sort of thing. But that's not exactly how it worked out. As I mentioned before, many rideshare trips actually replace transit trips, not driving trips. In fact, a study found that half of all rideshare trips replaced walking, cycling, and transit trips, or trips that wouldn't have even been made in the first place. 15% of all car trips within San Francisco are made with Uber and Lyft. All of these new car trips create more traffic. In San Francisco, weekday vehicle delay increased by nearly 70%. It makes sense too if you think about it. A normal trip and return trip is really straightforward. You drive to the store, park, drive home, and park. Those same trips made with Uber require someone to drive to your house first, then take you on the trip to the store. Same thing on the way back. Metro Micro wins at traffic, though it's not immediately obvious why. I mean, it's still ride sharing, right? But some of the reasons why it lost in earlier categories means it wins here. It's simply not as convenient as Uber or Lyft, which means it's not going to generate as many rideshare rides as the other competition. It's also just a better complement to transit, in particular areas where transit doesn't already go. Metro Micro fills a gap that transit networks have a hard time with, serving people in low-density, car-dependent areas. By integrating fares with transit and advertising it as an extension of the transit system, it could potentially create more transit riders, reducing traffic. Metro Micro is still in its early days, so it's hard to know if the program has been a success or not. But if it delivers on the goals set forth by LA Metro, I have to believe that other transit agencies would want to implement a similar program, especially if Uber and Lyft keep raising their prices, and especially if Uber and Lyft continue to be kind of shady and sketchy with cities. I haven't really even scratched the surface of what they've done in the past. Did you know that Uber arranged backroom deals with politicians to expand their services in certain cities and likely broke the law when doing it? Or that Uber wants you to book flights, trains, and buses on the Uber app? It sounds like they want to take down all other transportation, not just transit. Or that Uber's impact on the taxi industry has led to bankruptcies and suicides by New York taxi drivers? But now you can actually book a yellow cab in New York through Uber? I learned all of these things and more by reading Morning Brew, a completely free daily newsletter. Morning Brew keeps you up to speed on all of the news and current events you need to know about business, finance, and tech. They do it in only 5 minutes in a way that's more informative, witty, and relevant than traditional news. It cuts through the clutter and gives you what you need every morning. Since you watch this channel...
All right, we need to go into that. But so there it is, man. I think that's really, it's, I was somebody when I first heard about Uber, I liked it. I was taking cabs to the airport, and I started using Lyft because I heard they were better with their employees than Uber, not by much, it turns out. And it was like, oh, wow, it was cutting my cab fare to the airport, traveling so much as a comedian, in half. So I'm saving money. And then they got greedy and started upping their prices. And then the cabbies became more competitive. But then I too believed, Uber and Lyft are going to be great because people are going to trade in their cars. No, they're not. That's what the data just showed. That's what the data just showed. And the metro rideshare integrates with the bus and rail lines, and they just extended the rail all the way out to Westchester now to LAX, which is they've been trying to do that for years. So I'm really I just came across this channel, and thank you TE for sending us this, because this is the kind of information that's very helpful. We need data, we need information. So, you know, I always say this a lot. If you care about the environment, if you can use public transportation, do it. If you can ride your bike, do it. If you live in an area that's not possible. So it's just something to consider, guys. It's another thing to look at and get the information. And I appreciate TE for supporting our show at patreon.com/Graham Elwood, and come see us out on the road, you guys. We got shows in Berlin, London, New York City, Madison, Wisconsin, Detroit, Cincinnati, and Chicago. The whole month of October, we're doing shows. Go to GrahamElwood.com, follow the Money Connected Dots, get the truth, and shave your knuckles for justice. Boom, boom. Miss you in St. Petersburg, Russia. You should visit again. Oh man, I loved being in St. Petersburg. I loved going. I love that city. I love that city. I'd like to come back. I know things are challenging in that part of the world. If you can come to Berlin, or London or something, come to the show. It'd be great. I'd love to come back to Une Ule. Yes, I loved being in St. Petersburg. I absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved it. It's got to be early there, right? Isn't it early in Russia right now? Early in the morning? But thank you guys so much. Corrupt corporations and businesses making secret, dirty, backroom deals with corrupt politicians. The classic definition of fascism. Yeah. Yeah. Uber's a big proponent of robot cars. Yeah. God. Elon Musk more or less admitted Hyperloop was just to stall mass transit development so he could sell more cars. Ugh. What a jackass. They're such the worst. I never used to talk about Bilderberg because you got lumped in with some crazy people if you talked about it, but that shit is real. Yeah, I know. That's the thing about and that's probably their effective marketing, is there's some real horrible stuff with the Bilderberg group, but then you go down that road and there's all these crazy conspiracy and YouTube shows. And then you sound like, oh, great. Now I'm in with the lizard people and the crop circles and that, you know, whatever else. Like, I don't want to be in that group. But you're true. Alfred Das Liebe, shave your knuckles for justice, Alfred. Alfred, the Berlin ticket link, I just put it in the chat earlier. I'll put it in again. Are you going to come to our Berlin government secrets? You better, my friend. Your bit regarding Silicon Valley cat food app captures how evil gig economy taxis are. Yep. It's 5:12 in the morning in St. Petersburg right now. Well, you are up early. Alfred Das Liebe. Let me put the German, here it is. I'll put this back in the chat, everybody. This is our Berlin ticket link. Alfred, I hope to see you in Berlin, my friend. I think lizard people and crop circles opened for Hootie and the Blowfish back in the day. Yeah. They were at Bonnaroo, I think, in 2005. Yeah, you can see my documentary, Graham Goes to Russia. Graham, stop criticizing Uber. They support abortion coverage. Yeah. It's 5 a.m. All right. Une Ule, what's your full name? What's your Russian name? What club in Madison? What day? If you go to grahamelwood.com, you'll see it. It's called the Brink Lounge. It's Thursday, October 20th. And so go to grahamelwood.com. Riley. Darian rides a Razor scooter. Yes, she does. Flat around Earth. The Earth is round, guys. It's Earth. It's round Earth. Round Earth. I heard Darianne is dating Granny Petrel's grandson, Ford Jr. What? No way. News to me. I guess Chad, I don't know, maybe they had a falling out. Wow. That is crazy. No way. No way. I am not a flat earther. The earth is round. We landed on the moon and the Holocaust happened, guys. Okay? That's a standard. I'm not wavering on any of those. I don't want to watch your videos telling me those things didn't happen. Just go somewhere else. If that's anybody wants to, there's no debate. I'm not debating those subjects. Yeah, Holly just put in the chat, grahamelwood.com. That's where all my tour dates are. I have not put Detroit and Berlin yet. I haven't got the Detroit link, but the Madison link is up there. New York is up there. Cincinnati is up there. Chicago is up there. London is up there. Boom. Yeah, we're going to get to the crypto soon, Matt. We got one more segment and then crypto. I want to come to the show in Ohio, but my band might be playing a music festival that day in Oxford, Ohio. If it falls through, I'll be there. Okay, cool. I hope you can make it to Cincinnati. Mids, shave your knuckles for Dustus. Thank you for supporting us at rockfan.com/Graham Elwood. Sorry I'm late. Band practice ran later than usual. No worries. Got to keep the band together. Yeah, I hope you can make it to Cincinnati. If you guys don't, if the gig doesn't happen, or maybe you drive up to Detroit the night before. I know it's crazy. It's crazy. A profit motive simply adds to costs, of course. Yep. Not a Russian name. I'm ethnically Arab, born and raised in Russia. Right on. Right on. Nothing in Pittsburgh. Nope. On this tour, the only East Coast I got is New York City. Come to New York City, guys. Come to the Big Apple. And I'm doing it's an earlier, it's a 7:00 show because I know it's during the week. It's like a Tuesday. I know people got to get up or go come to the Big Apple. Boom. That's a Broadway comedy club. I'm playing Broadway, kids. Vigilante comes to Broadway. I hate when I have to work when the show is on. I'm missing a lot. Going to have to rewatch. Oh, Backyard. I hope work is going well. I believe you work in a dispensary. Just don't let Yoko sit on your amp. All right. The Detroit venue, I haven't got a ticket link from them yet. It's One Night Stands Comedy Club in Detroit, just north of it, like up near Pontiac. Waterford, Michigan, actually. I call it Detroit, but it's in Waterford, Michigan. It's called One Night Stands, STANS Comedy Club. And I don't even think I'm on their calendar yet. I'm hoping to get a ticket link from them, but that's where I'm playing, is One Night Stands in Michigan. Do I have any special guests for the Madison show? Working on a few. You never know who might show up at any of my shows. You never know. Backyard Politics got to meet Tara Reid. You never know what comedian might pop and be around. You never know what's going down. So, yeah. You'd be doing all right if Yoko was actually sitting on your... I'm generally envious of Rachel Blevins and Fiorella relocating to Moscow. Yeah, I heard that. That sounds crazy. I didn't realize that at all. I didn't know Fiorella went. Wow. That's nuts. And the girl, Alexander, who accompanied you in St. Petersburg, is really cool. Is she a viewer of your channel? I don't know if she does. She was one of the promoters in St. Petersburg. She was very cool. And Steve Foreman, who's a stand-up comic, who helped put the show together. She helped promote it in St. Petersburg. She was like one of the promoters in St. Petersburg. It was really great. And if you watch Graham Goes to Russia, she's in the movie a little bit. And her dad is the like cab driver that I interview in the movie. Is really, really cool. Really cool. So that's another reason to subscribe to Rockfin Premium. You get to watch Graham Goes to Russia. Yeah, Chicago will be amazing. Chicago's going to be awesome. 5-camera shoot in this cool little club that I started in. If you come to the Zanies in Chicago, you'll see my headshot on the wall from when I was like 22. Yeah. Lizard people could be at the next live show. Absolutely. You know, maybe some of the crew of the USS Zumwalt. You don't know. You don't know who's going to be there. Maybe the USS Zumwalt will do a guest spot. It has that kind of technology where it can be funny for 10 minutes. So you might see some of the comics you've seen on the show during Anything Can Happen. You might see them be popping in some of these shows, being my open acts. You never know which kind of crazy activists and people are going to be in the audience. So it's going to be really cool. It's going to be really, really cool. So get ready, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready. Get ready for the shave knuckle tour of justice, kids. I'm trapped in this country. I need to leave. Be careful with one-night stands. I didn't do any one-night stands. Thank you for the safe sex talk. My life is okay, man. I'm pretty happy. I mean, I've worked hard to get to this place. I like my life. I try to see the world, and that's why I was like, let's go to Europe, even if we can't. It was a hard time. We wanted to do more shows in Europe, but literally because of the war in Ukraine, it's made everything nuts. There were certain venues that didn't want to have us because Lee, was on RT, and so was I sometimes. I was mainly because Lee's redacted tonight because we were on RT. They didn't want to have us. It was nuts. But I was like, life's short, man. I'm going to Europe. So, yeah. I saw the USS Zumwalt open for Doug Stanhope. Yes, you did. Yeah, we're coming to London. All right, let's do one more segment for everybody, and then the crypto stuff we will take on over to Rockfin. Let's see, where's the other one? All right, let me get this teed up. Here we go. Go to grahamelwood.com, everybody. Yes, if you just joined us, you missed the Nicaragua segment. But if you are a Rockfin or a Rockfin Premium member or Patreon member, you can go watch that segment in the archive immediately following the show. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Oden, and you are watching Ling. Support what we do at patreon.com or rockfin.com. We've been demonetized by YouTube for a year and a half. It's really sucks. And also support us on the road. Oh, man. Lee Camp and I are doing Government Secrets in Europe, October 5th, Berlin, London, October 12th. And then I am doing stand-up comedy to get ready for my comedy taping. I'm taping a special October 26th in Chicago. It's going to be like I've done 2 albums, but this will be like my first ever special. So please come out for that. We're doing New York City, Madison, Wisconsin, Detroit, Michigan, Cincinnati, Ohio, and Chicago, all in October. Go to grahamelwood.com for tickets. Get your tickets now. Whoa. I don't know what happened. Sorry, everybody. Fluffing the mattress. I don't know. Yeah, well, this is the beginning of the segment, not the. Sorry about that, everybody. I'm so sorry. Let me see here if everything's good on all the other pages. No. Hold on. Sorry. God, that's such a cluster when that shit happens. I gotta go back and reset everything. Sorry, man. All right. Sorry about that. YouTube showed us 5 minutes of Christine Legrand speech. All right. God, we lost everything. Oh, man, that's so frustrating. Okay, there it is. All right, there it is. This is the one. Hold on. Sorry. I can't just. So I can't tell which one is working. All right, I'm gonna try. Let's see. Okay, so this one. Okay, so we're back. We're back on Rockfin. We're back on YouTube. Sorry. I can see and hear Graham, but you can't. What's going on? So you guys can't see me? We see and hear you. Okay. But I'm not seeing it here on YouTube. Hold on. Sorry. Jesus. That was madness. Okay. All right. We're back. You can see and hear me clearly. All right. Thank you so much. Bless you. Sorry. That sneeze was insane. You can see me. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Bless you. That's nuts. All right. Let me go back and do this segment again. All right. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So I got to redo this. Oh, wait. I got to redo this. Got to redo it all. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching Bam, the political vigilante, making Gotham great again. Support what we're doing, guys, by going to patreon.com/Graham Elwood or rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. And also live shows. Government Secrets is coming to Europe, October 5th, Berlin, October 12th, London. And then I'm doing stand-up comedy back in the States, October 18th, New York City, October 20th, Madison, Wisconsin, October 21st, Detroit, October 22nd, Cincinnati, and October 26th in Chicago. I will be recording my first ever comedy special. It's an hour of all the lefty stuff we talk about, but just with jokes, man. That's going to be awesome. So I really come out to a live show because we feel alone. We all feel like we're politically homeless. You come to a live show, you're going to meet other people. Look, Ron Placone and I just did a show. Tara Reid was there. A lot of people were there. So you want to come to the live shows, go to grahamelwood.com for tickets. Another great way to support the show is to send in articles and stuff. Many of you do. That's why I call it the People's Channel. That's why you got to come to a live show. This is the People's Channel. You guys help make this channel what it is. And you send me articles and videos and stuff. And so much of the information I'm able to put out on this show is because of you. And you do this by supporting me at Patreon or Rockfin. So one of the things we talked about on this show is do protests work? Do peaceful protests work? Some people were like, burn it all down, anarchy, revolution. I'm very leery of that because that's just going to make the police and the militarized police and the state basically just crush us. They would love to just put us in martial law, and the civil war would be awful. And people that are gung ho for that have no idea. It's Americans who've never had a war on their soil. They don't know what it is. But then there's also the other side of it, just going like a peaceful protest on a Saturday, nothing gets shut down. You have to make people in power uncomfortable. You have to limit their ability to make money. That's why I'm a huge proponent of strikes. When workers shut down a business, then all of a sudden management has to show up and come to the negotiating table. So this video was sent to me, and I'm not sure if I agree with everything in it, but I want to know what you guys think, because I think it's a worthwhile discussion, even debate to have. So put your comments in the comment section and let me know what you think works and what doesn't. But I wanted to show this because it is important, and we should be figuring out what's the best way to do this. So here we go.
City Stream. Get free access to Nebula, the streaming platform built by all your favorite YouTubers. That matters, though. It's what you do with it. And what was done with this protest is really quite interesting. What you're looking at here is at most about 100 people gathered in front of Brett Kavanaugh's house protesting. Back in May, Politico leaked the Supreme Court's decision on Roe v. Wade early, and understandably, people gathered outside conservative justices' homes to voice their anger. They did what protesters do and have always done. They chanted rhyming slogans, held witty signs, and drummed on plastic buckets. Again, this is what it looked like. But what matters isn't so much the protest itself, it's what happened afterwards. A lot of people weren't fans of what they saw. The guy who took this video, Douglas Blair, got invited on Fox News and called it
genuinely one of the scariest things I've ever witnessed.
And he wasn't the only one. As soon as this video went viral, the condemnation started pouring in. Republicans called Democrats hypocrites for not denouncing this heinous act of violence, with barely enough time to get the words out before the Dems proved them wrong. On Twitter, people did the same thing. Liberals and conservatives alike put their 2 cents in, begging protesters to be sensible and, quote, be civil civically, as one conservative pundit put it. Many came out of the woodwork with the same take. Protesting outside a justice's home is unacceptable, and the conversation became about how people protest, not why. Moments like these are the bread and butter of American politics. Every time a protest happens, conservatives stoke fears about the woke mob and liberals tone police, asking protesters to rise above and not slip into the barbarity of bullies like Trump. The Dems and Republicans use protests as a way to try to call each other out, while simultaneously sending the same message to demonstrators. Stop protesting like that. We don't like it. US politics is rife with this kind of stuff. We saw it with the BLM protest 2 years ago, the Women's March before that, and at least as far back as the 60s when MLK was leading the movement for civil rights. Every time a protest creates even the most minor disturbance, which is the point of a protest, the wheels kick into gear. People get all up in arms and start talking about the end of democracy and the need for civility. So-called comedians like Bill Maher run segments titled Bring Civility Back into Politics, and politicians like Cory Booker go on talk shows to preach for a return of civic grace. The call for civility suddenly becomes the news item of the moment. But that's not all. After years of this kind of high-roading, the appeal to civility has basically become the Democrats' entire political platform. A platform that's best summarized by Michelle Obama's famous, "When they go low, we go high." The Democrats have become incredibly attached to the idea that following strict social and institutional conventions makes them morally superior to the rest of the rabble, whether that's the protesters doing it the wrong way, or the Republicans they chide for bending the rules and being rude. We saw this philosophy of procedural superiority during Joe Biden's campaign, when he consistently reminisced about the good old days of civil, principled political arguments. Joe longs for a time when, quote, the Democratic Party still had 7 or 8 old-fashioned Democratic segregationists. You'd get up and you'd argue like the devil with them. Then you'd go down and have lunch or dinner together. The political system worked. You all remember those great times, right? When the political system worked so well and it was full of segregationists. The thing is, buddying up to segregationists aside, this sentiment that Joe is playing on seems reasonable to most people. At the end of the day, we all want to live in a world where we treat each other with civility. A world where every conflict gets resolved with violence or intimidation is awful, and wanting respectful debate to take precedent is normal. Better than normal, it's ideal. But that's not what this is. These calls for civility are not made in a vacuum, and they aren't made with the goal of real democratic resolution in mind.
Did you know you can make animated explainer ads and videos just like this one using Toonly? Normally,
these are cynical demands to do politics through government, an institution politicians know will kill these demands for justice, a place where they will be watered down at best and outright discarded at worst. To understand what I mean, we first need to ask how this whole process works. First and foremost, the appeal to civility tries to draw strict boundaries between what is considered civil and what is considered violent. This is not a neutral process, and it's interesting to see where the lines are drawn by our politicians. Inherent to the idea that civil acts like voting or being elected and debating in Congress are preferable is the idea that they are not violent the way protests can be. But of course, it doesn't take much to see how wrong that is. When protesters gather on Kavanaugh Street, they are doing so precisely to resist violence carried out by the government. They are protesting losing their rights, the guarantee of full control over their bodies. They're protesting the sudden explosion of unsafe abortions and the predictable rise in deaths that will come with it. According to one study, that's going to look like a 21% increase in pregnancy-related mortality across the country, which will be even worse for people of color, with a 33% rise in deaths. That is on top of the fact that the US already has the highest maternal mortality rate in the imperial core. People are protesting the imminent prosecution and possible imprisonment of hundreds, if not thousands of people. Complications during pregnancy will become more fatal than they were before, with last resort use of abortion as a treatment suddenly off the table in many states. Femicides will go up. This means thousands of preventable deaths and untold preventable suffering. For millions of people, the end of Roe is a sudden, tremendous upsurge of very uncivil, very predictable violence, and a protest in front of a justice's house hardly comes anywhere near it. But if you listen to the way Democrats and Republicans talk about the government, at least in its ideal imagined form, it would never seem that way. The government is never held responsible for this kind of violence. It's always the protesters that are violent. The principled debates in the assembly, the decisions made by the Supreme Court, the enforcement of laws by judges and overly militarized police forces. These are all just procedures. It's civil, it's well organized, it's legitimate, and therefore, even when the consequences are brutal, it's not even really violence. Kavanaugh doesn't deserve all this violence on his doorstep. He deserves to live a normal, peaceful life. All he did was vote in a way that you didn't like, and there's nothing violent about voting. It's easy to see how the contrast between angry people yelling and people in suits talking quietly reflects this idea. And that's the image politicians like to invoke when they're talking about civility. But the state has never been a nonviolent institution, the American government especially. For starters, the liberal regimes most of you watching this video live under are entirely the product of bloody, violent revolutions, like those in France and the US. Nobody voted the king away or acted all that civilly. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Thousands of early Americans participated in the genocide of Native Americans that is still going on. Today, the state relies on the tremendous violence of the police, the carceral system, and the military, with the US accounting for nearly 25% of the world's prison population and spending more money than the next 10 countries combined on its armed forces.
12.
There's more. Every day, the governments we live under choose not to end homelessness, poverty, and malnutrition, despite these measures being well within our means, and in so doing, subject millions of people to a more structural form of violence. Governments allow and often encourage fossil fuel companies to destroy local environments and rip through reservations with oil pipelines that have a historic record of failure. That's more violence. Without needing to go back very far, we can see that the liberal government we live under survived for generations by capturing and enslaving human beings. These same liberal governments also colonized entire continents, crushing their native populations without remorse. And once colonialism was formally ended in many parts of the world, former colonies were kept under the imperial boot in a series of neo-colonial, neoliberal market reforms. At times, governments even carry out direct, very targeted violence against their own people in horrific acts like the move bombings that wiped out an entire block, or the removal of Fred Hampton in his sleep. Government, and specifically the kind of government that you most likely live under, is tremendously violent. It's not civil at all. It's just very efficient and formal with the way it conducts its violence. When politicians are confronted with this evidence, which frankly doesn't happen very often, their last resort is to rely on the idea that this violence is legitimate. The violence may exist, and it may be deplorable, but it is ultimately publicly sanctioned. The way this violence gains its legitimacy in the 21st century is by claiming that all this awful stuff is just what the people want. At the end of the day, in liberal democracies, the government acts as nothing more than a mouthpiece for the will of the public. So if something bad happens, it's just because the people wanted it to, or they just didn't vote hard enough. This is how Obama recently explained it in an interview for a show that he produced. In this clip, Obama was just asked why the massive desire for change and an end to much of the state's violence in 2008 never materialized. Obama responds by saying,
except it turns out Mitch McConnell was elected too. Right? Precisely because the country is a big, diverse, complicated place. Look, here's the thing.
The idea here is that because people are just so different in this big country, putting an end to this violence is too difficult. We need to compromise. Except Obama's time in office was full of moments where he led the charge on increasing the state's violence without facing any resistance. For a long time, Obama was called the deporter-in-chief because of how aggressively he pursued the deportation of, at the conservative end, 2.5 million people. His legacy is also one of over 540 drone strikes and hundreds of civilian deaths, also unopposed by the Republicans he's trying to pin the blame on. Obama also imposed, once again without staunch opposition, the brutal austerity politics that made the 2008 crash so violent for millions of Americans. The banks were bailed out, but many Americans were just left out to dry in sudden, brutal poverty. And it wasn't because Americans disagreed with one another, it's because their voice didn't matter as much as those of business interests. This is because, unlike what Obama is trying to convey, the government is not an impartial institution. The state is not a perfect expression of democratic will. It is the crystallization of class dynamics. When they act, our capitalist governments do not exclusively consider the public's demands. Every decision, whether small or large, gets filtered through the long-term preservation of capitalist interests.
So, I mean, really, there's a very compelling video, and the guy makes great points. And it's a thing that I think is accurate. You know, when people say, oh, you know, that's not how you do it. It's like, wait a minute. The Boston Tea Party was uncomfortable. I mean, even Dr. King, man, like they did peaceful they sat in. I mean, then they had to take violence. Rosa Parks, like this is the thing that they always say, like, and when you hear it from the ridiculous, you know, the Democratic Party, I always say like if they were around, if Nancy Pelosi and them were around, they would have told Joe Biden would have told Rosa Parks, oh, don't sit at the front of the bus, you know, sit in the middle. In fact, start at the back, move up one row at a time, get bipartisan support. This is the thing. This is the thing why I really loathe Obama. Remember when the NBA was going on strike during the playoffs because of what had happened to Jacob Blake? And then Obama, and they shut everything down. Like, that's what you have to do. And I was all for it. I go, you got to shut everything down. Because if the billionaire owner of the Milwaukee Bucks can't make money because his players don't want to play in the playoffs, he's gonna lean on the mayor and the people of Milwaukee. And I know the Jacob Blake was in Racine, which is just down the road from Milwaukee, but it like they could have, and Obama said, go back to because Obama protects the power structure. Bill Maher protects the power structure. Bill Maher and Stephen Colbert are millionaires because the billionaire power structure lets them have a voice because their voice doesn't really challenge true power. That's why Bill Maher, blamed Jill Stein. That's why Aaron Sorkin, in that show, The Newsroom, during the height of the Occupy movement, made the Occupy movement out to be a bunch of stupid kids. You have to shut things, and it's Americans willfully ignore their own history. This guy brought up a great point. King George didn't get voted out of office through a peaceful democratic system. We had to go to war with the Brits. This land was stolen violently from Native Americans, violently stolen. Right? If you've had interaction with any of the militarized police, I've had violence directed at me by the police. The Obama let the bank steal my house. That was an act of violence. So the fact that Kavanaugh, they just peacefully went to his house and protested, he should be thanking his lucky stars, because people might just go burn his house down, because that's how other revolutions have happened. The French Revolution, they didn't wait for the French Parliament to come to an agreement and vote harder. They had no voice. And we have no voice in America, because no matter who you vote for, Republican or Democrat, they're bought and paid for by Wall Street. They're all corrupt. So he's right. Peaceful protests don't work. I'm not saying go advocate like use guns and crazy acts of violence, but you have to shut stuff down. You have to make it uncomfortable for the people in power. You have to hurt their ability to earn money. You have to impede their ability to have power and control. You have to do that. Look what's happening with Starbucks. Look what they're doing. They're forming unions. And when management is like blocking unions, they walk out and go on strike. What are they supposed to do? Vote for more Democrats? The Democrats don't give a shit about unions. They say they do, but they don't. Neither party cares about workers. It's so funny. And whenever you hear Republicans and Democrats, agreeing on stuff, or there's a right way and a wrong way to protest. Oh, really? Yeah, because the Boston Tea Party was actually pollution. You were wasting tea and you were polluting the Boston Harbor. It's pollution. Yeah. Paul Revere was an anarchist. That's what Paul Revere was then, according to today's. Dr. King. Liberals love throwing out Dr. King. They hated him. He was reviled. He was called a traitor and a terrorist and all this stuff. And you see like Joe Biden, like, that's what we did. We were segregationists. Oh, that's how we ended Jim Crow laws? Through peaceful, nonviolent resistance? No, people got the shit kicked out of them by cops in the South. Come on. So this video makes a great point. And yeah. Control oil and you control nations. Control food and you control the people. Kissinger said that. So thank you for submitting this video. You guys are the best. That's why this is the People's Channel. And that video, they brought up great points. And it's going to take big civil acts of disobedience, shutting down stuff, nonviolent. Like I always talk about GameStop. Look what they did, GameStop. Nobody got arrested. Nobody got tear gassed, but they took away billions of dollars from Wall Street, beat them at their own corrupt game. That was nonviolent resistance. That affected their power structure. The Democrats just want you to vote harder, vote more, vote harder, so that they get into office and then they protect the powerful just like the Republicans do. They're just not as bold-faced fascists about it. They're sort of light, fun fascism. The powerful will always protect themselves. And when we talk about the corporate media, we also have to remember Hollywood is in the corporate media. Bill Maher is part of that. Bill Maher doesn't want to lose his $20, $30, $50 million that he's worth because they pay him to protect that. Same with Colbert and all these other people that used to be like rebels. Peaceful protests outside of a justice house, that's good. That's good. Yeah. The government, the politicians should be afraid of the people, not the other way around. They should be afraid of us. and you pass some crappy law and all of a sudden there's 10,000 people outside of your house. Oh, wait, maybe that's not the law I should have passed. Maybe, wait. Follow the money, connect the dots, get the truth. And that's how you make Gotham great again. Shave your knuckles for justice. Boom. All right. We're going to go to the crypto segment over at rockfin.com. Everybody watching on YouTube and Facebook, please go over to rockfin.com/Graham. It is free to sign up. Thank you so much. Dems don't fight for anything. No, they do not fight for anything. Leftover beefcake. Shave your knuckles for justice. I'm going to invent soft and fluffy guillotines so the elites are more relaxed and comfortable as their heads come off. Dude, thank you for supporting us at rockfin.com. Alfred Das Liebe, shave your knuckles for justice. Thank you for supporting us at rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. The Boston Tea Party, the real one, would be economic terrorism today, and Ron DeSantis would defend the right of running them over with horse-drawn carts. We'd still have a queen. So true, dude. So true. The only way peaceful protests work is if they're large enough on a national basis and if they fully sustain over a sufficient period of time. Nice. Nice. Absolute corruption corrupts. Absolutely. Yep. All right, YouTubers and Facebookers, please go over to rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. It's free to sign up. We will see you over there right now. Thanks for watching on YouTube, everybody. We will see you soon. Go to rockfin.com/Graham Elwood. All right. And let me do this. Thank you, YouTubers. Go to Rockfin. Thanks for supporting us. Check out a live show. Go to GrahamElwood.com. Yes. Bam. Thank you, Holly, for being our moderator. We'll see you guys at Rockfin.